Eagle handler?
Why are we talking about Lazio's eagle handler? He's now more of a penis handler.
I'll explain what that means in a minute. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm your power rankings handler, Brandon Perna, and today I will provide the only honest power rankings and predictions for the final 8 teams heading into the divisional round. Bad news, the curse wheel is all the way back and at full strength as it cursed the Vikings last week. Can this bad boy make it all the way to the Super Bowl? Well, we'll find out when I spin it at the end of the show to see which team it curses today. Before we hit the top 8 teams, let's ascend to heaven. Receiving the healing light of heaven this week is my heavenly quarterback, Bo Nix, who played with a fractured back, which he suffered the week before the Browns game. Last week we learned Michael Pittman played the entire season with a fractured back, making this our first ever back-to-back back injuries in heaven. Oddly, Bo Nix's deep ball somehow got more accurate after the injury. These are all throws Bo made with a back fracture, and I'm a little worried when he's healthy, these revert back to Bover throws. Also, heavenly is knowing John Elway in his rookie season lost in the wild card round to the Seahawks 31-7, just like Nix did to the Bills. Bo Nix, the next John Elway, confirmed. In purgatory, Caleb Williams praying to the football gods that the Bears don't fuck up their head coaching hire.
Selfishly, I want an offensive-minded guy so I can build with him and be with that coach for the next 19, 17, 15 years.
Now, I suggest you listen to Caleb on Amon Ra's pod. They talk about Caleb getting catfished by some dude who pretended he was Ben Johnson, texting Caleb that he got the job in Chicago.
It was a classic prank. It was a grade A, S-tier prank.
But after listening to this, if the Bears hire anyone other than Ben Johnson, Caleb should request a trade.
If it's Ben, then,
Nigga said.
In hell, Sam Darnold's agent. And yep, Sam Darnold's agent. Please subscribe here. We are now less than 4,000 subscribers away from hitting 700,000. The goal is to try to get to 700,000 subs before the season concludes. Now let's dive into these power rankings like Jared Verse. Coming in at number 8, the Commanders. There are dozens of cool Jayden Daniels stats out there. Several impressive metrics, but the one that could give the Lions trouble is that when he scrambles, Jayden Daniels improves the outcome of the play better than any QB in the league. The longer a play goes on, the more likely a defense is to make a mistake in coverage, right? And for the Lions, that's usually one of their corners holding. Now, the Buccaneers eliminated the Commanders' rushing attack last week. Jayden led the team with just 36 yards. Austin Eckler had 27, and Brian Robinson, who's been quiet for a while now, just 16 yards on 10 carries. During the season, the Commanders averaged the 3rd most yards per game with an impressive 154. They need to get back to that to keep the Lions' explosive offense off the field. I suggest doing what Baltimore did against Pittsburgh and run a lot in the first quarter with your QB, Jayden Daniels. Mina Kimes pointed out on her pod that Lamar had the most first quarter carries this season for him and the 2nd most of his career. Make the Lions key on Jayden as a rusher to open up everything else because, like Lamar, he can do it all. Coming in at number 7.7, Underdog, today's sponsor. Guys, we are 232 signups away from 5,000. I get my next big bonus at 5,000 signups. And if we hit 10,000 total, Underdog owes me that coveted $1 million. But remember, to sweeten the deal, I have vowed to attend the Chiefs' three-peat victory parade if they do it, and if we hit 7,500 signups by that final tick in the Super Bowl, this is gonna happen. I lowered the goal by 2,500 signups, which makes this obtainable if you fancy watching me suffer. Yes, a video will document the experience. Number 7, the Texans. Is this a team that's just happy to be in the divisional round, or are they actually gonna fuck around and make some noise in Arrowhead? One thing is for sure, definitely do not jump out to a 24-point lead in the first half, Houston. That's bad news. No fake punts in your own territory either. The Texans have the lowest odds of any team remaining to win the Super Bowl by a long shot, and they had the longest odds last week as well. Here's one thing I can point to in the Texans' favor. They're really good against top-tier quarterbacks. They held Mahomes to just 1 touchdown. They forced Josh Allen into a disastrous game where he completed just 9 of his 30 throws. And against Jared Goff, they had 5 interceptions and a loss. And not to mention what they did to Justin Herbert last Saturday. This defense is not afraid of anyone, and that makes sense when you have Will Anderson collapsing pockets and Derek Stingley locking down the secondary. The question is, do they have anyone to stop Satan?
Be locked in with the Lord as much as possible, and and fasting and praying,
Locked in with the Lord? Well, everyone, we are about to find out who emerges victorious in a true battle of good versus evil. CJ Stroud locked in with the Lord versus our 666 team of power, the Chiefs, and their devil magic bullshit. Boom! Shout out to Rachel who designed these devil magic shirts for me. They are available at benchwarmershop.com. What I do know is the Chiefs starters will have gone most of a month without seeing a live snap, and I really don't think it's going to matter at all. They're that good. They could have been cryogenically frozen for a year, and I'd still expect them to play near perfect playoff football. This is the time of the year where Andy Reid starts to call the secret good plays. Think you're getting a run based on a certain formation and look? Nope. That's a play action to a wide open receiver. It's crazy to think that the Chiefs have almost certainly been holding back their playbook for this time of the year, and they still won 15 games. Hell, they might hold some of it back against the Texans, knowing they're awaiting a date with either Buffalo or Baltimore. Can you run out of luck? Can you run out of devil magic? Yes. The Chiefs may have used it all up, but they're so goddamn annoying, they're probably not going to need it now that their team is as healthy as it's been since training camp. The thing that Andy Reid said this week is, go fuck yourself, Kansas City. You ain't getting me and you're going down. Fuck you, Cage, and fuck you, Table. My prediction, good finally triumphs, and the Texans take you down with a 55-yard Kaimi Fairbairn fake field goal that... Fuck, you're gonna, no. The Texans win, and they win by 7 points. Xavier Hutchinson is the Texans' leading receiver. Number 5, the Rams. Sean McVay was the best head coach on Wild Card Weekend. My first prediction is Cooper Kupp having 1 reception for 29 yards for the 3rd week in a row. 9 sacks delivered on Monday night, and poor Jared Verse.
White go crazy, Nev go crazy, B.Y. go out there going crazy, Kello out there going, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, it's a sack party, I am not invited.
The Rams defense is getting good, great, or are they elite at the exact right time? Now, the Rams didn't play their starters against Seattle. Outside of that game, though, their defense has allowed 9, 9, 9, and 6 points before we get to the game where the Bills fell to LA 44-42. Those less than 10-point games were against the Cardinals, Jets, 49ers, and of course the Vikings, where they had as many sacks as Minnesota had points. Now, Philly beat LA back in November 37-20, and I think we're about to find out how legit the Rams defense really is. Like so many teams this season, they went on a tear, but it's been against a group of shitty teams. And the reason I called LA boring is because their offense disappeared in all of those games where their defense was shutting opponents out. Matthew Stafford now has the highest passer rating versus the blitz in the playoffs. Here's a little tip, don't blitz Matthew Stafford. The way I see the Rams winning is somehow getting Philly into a shootout because I'm not sure the Eagles have the juice in their passing game to keep up. And what I know about Vic Fangio meatball is that he'd rather pass another kidney stone while coaching in the Hall of Fame game than dial up a blitz. The Eagles blitzed just 19.1% of the time this season, 5th lowest in the league, which takes us to the Eagles at 4. Brandon Graham played his last game of the season and possibly career against the Rams. He tore his triceratops in that game, and even though he's not playing, he is still showering with the team every week. Speaking of Eagles and penises, I suggest you hire the newly fired Eagles handler, Juan Bernabe, who was fired by the Italian soccer team
after Bernabe underwent penile implant surgery. Not because he had the surgery, it's because he shared the results on social media.
Marcus.
Control your eagle handling, or the Rams will handle you, Philly. I think it's worth noting that Philly has penis handler.
Why are we talking about Lazio's eagle handler? Well, because he's now more of a penis handler.
I think it's worth noting that Philly has eagle penis handling. I can't stop thinking about.
More of a penis handler.
I think it's worth noting that Philly has beaten the Rams 4 out of 5 times in the Sean McVay era, going all the way back to penis-handling Eagles, including a game this season where the Eagles had a 37-14 penal
More of a penis handler.
lead in the fourth quarter before a garbage time touchdown made the score look semi-respectable. Semi-penis. And, of course, that was in Los Angeles, not Philly. Now, the Rams didn't exactly do a great job containing Saquon Barkley in that first matchup, unless you think over 300 yards from scrimmage is an acceptable result. The one thing that really scares me about the penis handler Eagles is a fella by the name of Jake Elliott, who missed an extra point last week after missing 8 kicks in the regular season, including going just 1 for 7 from 50 or more. Maybe don't get in a position where you need him to tie or win the game. There's really no weakness on the Phillies defense. They allow the 10th fewest rushing yards per game, and that's basically their worst stat because they are so hard to throw against. Number 1 in passing yards allowed, and yards per passing play at 5.1. The Rams have to find a way to run the ball. I love Kyron Williams, but I foresee the Eagles winning an ugly game 31-21. And by Monday, the world's biggest craze will be handling prosthetic eagle penises. Number 3, the Ravens. The Ravens have defeated the Bills 2 out of 4 meetings in the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson era. But the most recent matchup was, if you'll recall, really no contest. The Ravens defense held Josh Allen to 180 yards with no TDs, while the Ravens rushed 34 times for 271 yards and a pair of scores. And that's back when we thought the Ravens defense sucked, and they were using Kyle Hamilton incorrectly as a nose tackle or some shit. That run game is going to be effective at home or away. Here's where I think Baltimore has an edge. Buffalo loves to stay in the nickel defense with Taron Johnson serving as an undersized linebacker. That shit is not going to work against the Ravens' rushing attack, as we learned all the way back in September. They're either going to have to get bigger personnel out there on defense or hope they can get such a big lead early on that Baltimore forgets to run the ball, which they conveniently did against Kansas City in the game last year. Spoiler alert, I don't think the Ravens are going to forget this time. Derrick Henry actually averaged more yards per carry this season than Saquon Barkley. If you need a reminder on how effective the King has been with the rock in his hand, and I don't think you need a reminder.
Lamar, throw away. Unbelievable.
Number 2, I got the Lions. Lions fans had to be watching Sam Darnold melt down for the second week in a row against the Rams and think, oh shoot, maybe our defense isn't quite as good as we were hoping. We just got to play Sam Darnold. It is significant, however, that Terry and Arnold will be good to go and David Montgomery's coming back into the lineup. With Arnold ready to play, expect at least one untimely defensive pass interference from him, Detroit. Sonic and Knuckles, they're officially reunited. And like the game, they're going for rings. I love David Montgomery. I respect his toughness, and he's a punishing runner, great on 4th and 1 or at the goal line. I just hope he's truly able to perform at 100%. We all know he's not 100%, but he's got to perform like he is, because the more Jahmyr Gibbs is on the field, the harder it is, in my opinion, to give anyone else carries or touches, including David Montgomery burns the defense. Right now, there are 3 Tier 1 backs in the NFL, and they're all in the postseason: Gibbs, Barkley, and Henry. The Lions haven't played the Commies since September of 2022, a game that Detroit won, but they're both top 5 offenses and 2 of the top 6 rushing attacks in the NFL. The difference there, Detroit is 5th in rush defense, defense, while the Commanders allow an average of 137 yards per game on the ground. And while I've loved Jayden Daniels' season, I am taking the Lions to win this game, and I believe the Lions win convincingly. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs leads all backs this week with the most yards from scrimmage. And number one, holding firmly, the Bills. Can the Bills possibly lose with this man leading the charge on Sunday night? We're about to see Fitzmagic go shirtless as his chest hair turns into magic little icicles. I also don't like that Buffalo was called a city of losers at the Ravens press conference. Oh, so now people who take their clothes off in the freezing cold and rip shots out of bowling balls are losers? I'd like to see what a winner fucking looks like then. The Bills are 9-0 at home this season, including last week's win against the Broncos. Josh Allen only got sacked 5 times at home this year and threw just 3 picks with a passer rating of 107.8. If this game wasn't in Buffalo, I would have a hard time picking the Bills to win. But they play so damn well in front of their home crowd. I think they learned a lot about the Ravens the last time they played. Keep in mind, Buffalo in that game did not have corner Taron Johnson, linebackers Terrell Bernard, and Matt Milano, who looks like he's starting to get back to form. He also had a sack last week on Bo Nix. Like Kansas City and the Ravens, the Bills are incredibly healthy right now, which means there's no excuse for whoever loses this game. So what I'm going to say is Buffalo, one game at a time this time, and I believe Josh Allen, based on this photo alone, might finally have some devil magic on his side. Bills win on a missed kick by Justin Tucker. All right, let's spin the wheel. Let's spin it like Price is Right. Don't forget benchwarmershop.com if you want your devil magic shirts designed by the one and only great Rachel. Okay, who we getting, Wheel? Who we getting? Oh, come on! Oh, you almost took down the Chiefs, you son of a bitch! Who's 5? Ooh, the Rams. Oh, LA. Yeah, I think you're gonna lose. Why was I grabbing myself?
More of a penis handler.
Just, when I get nervous, I do this, I guess. Sorry, LA. Great game last week, great season. Eagles are gonna get you.